anything else?
Brent, above all else, he's always positive. And I don't mean like Pollyanna pie in the sky positive. I mean like he truly believes this is going to be a good season. They're going to win a lot of games. They're going to make some noise. They're going to chase a playoff spot, all that good stuff. He believes that, and he should, because he's the one behind the scenes putting in the work, making sure he's got that work ethic, right? He's Brent Venables' defensive genius, only now he's a head coach. So it's the same thing, only it's more amplified. So his positivity exudes. He's got reason to be positive in that they've got a kid at quarterback who everybody has spent the offseason looking at, close film, breaking him down, breaking down those clips. And John Mateer, when you see his Washington State stuff last year, he looks like the real deal. He's been called pretty much on consensus the best quarterback in the SEC. I'm like, oh, I mean, I love those clips too. And I retweeted that little video that was put to music, and he's running up and down the sidelines and, doing the Baker Mayfield arm waving thing. He's a fun dude to watch. But then season's almost here, and we've come to the point where everybody has seen him now, and everybody's like, yeah, he's probably the best quarterback in the SEC. I'm like, okay, maybe this is going to be a better season than I thought. I'm on stuff like that, I'm always the guy who's the naysayer and the doubting Thomas and all that. That's just my nature. But listen, he's a fun. If those receivers that they went out and got to replace all those injured guys, if they're good, Oklahoma's offense is going to be fixed this year.
So do you feel they've got the depth around John Mateer to see and look, they have to be way better on offense, but they don't necessarily have to be Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray good with the defense they have?
Yeah. And they went out and they got like 4 or 5 receivers who played, at like Southern Illinois and, Arkansas Pine Bluff. They went out and got some.
Whoops, we lost him. Might be like in a hotel lobby or something like that, where you get those walls that are like thick. We'll see if we can get him back on with us on 365 Sports. Best quarterback in the SEC. Who would be in that conversation besides
Nussmeier or Lenore Sellers?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
DJ Lagway.
Or DJ Lagway.
Yeah, DJ Lagway. We'll see once we get more and more evidence from Arch Manning on whether he's in that conversation. They've got a bunch too. I mean, the Big 12, we've discussed it, but they've got some. They've got some alphas.
Do I think that John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle can get to that point? Yeah, but a lot has to go their way. But he does not start, to me, the best quarterback in the SEC, right? Like you don't.
No, I think he's already starting to get a little bit overrated, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah. John Hoover rejoins us again. John, you mentioned, we lost you there for a second. Sorry
about that.
Mateer, the best quarterback in the SEC. Is there almost now a little bit of overhype on him until we see what he does in that offense and does it well?
Yeah, I think that's fair. He played in it last year. Oklahoma's new coordinator was his coordinator at Washington State, Ben Arbuckle, Texas kid. So, up in the Panhandle. But yeah, Arbuckle's offense is good. Arbuckle is a snappy play caller, all that stuff. And he's got Mateer. He's got a year. Well, actually, Mateer has 2 years studying under him, or 1 year behind Cam Ward. So yeah, I mean, all indications are this is going to be miles and miles, galactically better than last year because of Mateer. And he's going to make those receivers better. They also got guys, the best running back in the portal, and Jaden Ott out of Cal, 1,300-yard rusher 2 years ago, sprained his ankle last year. But 2 years ago, his first 2 years at Cal, he averaged 5.5 yards a carry, 5.3, something like that. So that's a kid that is getting it done at Cal at that level, which in 2023 was a pretty good level. In 2024, it was more of a Mountain West schedule, I guess they played. Kind of like Mateer. Mateer played kind of a Mountain. No, I said that wrong. Mateer is the one that played the Mountain West schedule. Cal played the ACC schedule, didn't they?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
So there you go.
What kind of real pressure do you think there is on Brent Venables outside of just the normal, hey, you're not winning enough? Like, we see it from the outside and we just immediately go like, oh, he's on the hot seat and he's this and he's that. But sometimes inside, it can be viewed a little bit differently. Like, how much do you think he's actually on a hot seat, John? And how much do you think that there is like this immense pressure that's been building, and how has he acknowledged that?
I say the pressure has been building. I don't think there's any doubt. You have a losing record at Oklahoma. 3 years. You're probably not going to get a fourth. He got a fourth because the guy who hired him, Joe Castiglione, the athletic director, who recently announced he's retiring in the future.
Yep.
Here's what I think, guys. Joe doesn't want to be the guy that has to fire Brent. I think Joe sees that they're playing the arguably the number one hardest schedule in the country. You're looking at a 5, 6, 7 win season as a potential, not great. And I think Joe has looked at the big landscape of NIL and revenue sharing and the possibility of having to cut programs, having to cut, wrestling, women's soccer, all that stuff. And I think Joe has looked around and said, I don't have to fire Brent or cut those programs. I'm 67. That would make it easy on everybody if I just retired. And then Brent is kind of left to, for lack of a better word, twist in the wind. Pressure is immense on him right now. I think that pressure on Venables is, well, my guy just retired, so the next athletic director, I either got to win for him or I'm going to be looking for another job.
Somebody in our chat room, Barry Crawford, here in Oklahoma, Brent Venables' seat is hotter than an OKC sidewalk.
Pretty hot.
John, what are your feelings on, the shoes that whoever replaces Joe Castiglione has to step into and who that might be? Yeah,
so they hired, I say he's not on the payroll because it's a volunteer position. He's doing it for free. Randall Stephenson, former chairman, CEO of AT&T. He's on the board of directors right now at Walmart. Okay. This is a guy who doesn't need a job. This is a guy who basically graduated from OU, loves OU, got his accounting from OU. And he's been a contributor to the point where they brought him. What decisions would you like to see made? That's where Randall Stephenson is. He's the one that negotiated the AT&T stadium contract with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. This guy is. So he's going to be the one that hires the next athletic director. He comes from AT&T, Walmart, accounting background. Is his next athletic director, he's leading the search for a new AD. Is OU's next athletic director going to even come from a college? Is he going to be a guy that even has athletic director experience? Or is he going to hire a business CEO to run the club? That's what I think is a very strong possibility. Is they're going to go out, not outside the box. They're going to make a new box, and they're going to go outside of that box, and they're going to bring in a guy who's never worked on a campus before, a woman. So that's just a possibility. I'm not making any predictions on the possibility that the next AD at Oklahoma could have literally zero AD experience.
John, I don't know how much you've had a chance to talk to Jim Nagy since he was hired, but it's just kind of amazing to see all these new positions popping up in this new age of college football. I know it's just constant change, but any initial impressions on just the job he's been brought in to do, how he's done it, and just the evolving landscape of all these new people that you suddenly need to have in today's day and age?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of ways to look at what Jim Nagy has done so far. One way is that it's a brand new position. He's never worked as a college GM before because the position has never existed before. Oklahoma has no point of reference for what a college GM should do or look like or act like. He's got a lot of connections. He's got a lot of time, I think 16, 17 years in the NFL, executive director of the Senior Bowl. Was the guy in charge of going out and curating talent to play in the Senior Bowl to connect them with the NFL teams. They're coaching the Senior Bowl and scouting the Senior Bowl. So he was basically a headhunter for a job fair. He's the one that went out and found the talent to bring in to get those guys hired by the NFL. So he's got a ton of connections. He doesn't have a ton of experience navigating NIL contracts and recruits that come into on their official visit with here's my mom, here's my dad, and here's my agent. You know, that's a reality now. And he doesn't have a ton of experience in that realm, but nobody does. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to have to give him a little bit of runway. I think he's 5 months into his tenure right now. He has just, June announced the hiring of 5 guys, a five-man staff. He gets to keep, a couple of guys that Brent already had sitting around in the scouting department and the personnel department. But he basically brought in 5 guys who have either college experience or NFL experience. So on the surface, and maybe even a little deeper, it looks really good. But I think time is ultimately going to tell what kind of job they're doing.
John, there's no way that, and not every school that has moved into a new conference, and especially someone like a Texas or Oklahoma, the money involved, or even though Nebraska's been average at best in the last 15 or 18 years, or since they went to the Big Ten, they were average even right before that. Is there anybody, like Switzer always said, be careful what you wish for, or be careful what you're doing. What would you say if you did a thermometer test with OU fans on where they are right now in the SEC? Is there any kind of regret at all?
I think there's a fan base is a little bit torn. I think when Castiglione retired or announced his retirement, he's going to finish it's possible he might finish the academic year. He might finish the calendar year. We're not really sure. But when he retired, he said this was the right move, and we've heard nothing but great things about joining the SEC. We've confirmed it, and this is all. Everybody's loving it. And the simple fact of the matter is, you go on my YouTube channel, you go on my Twitter feed, you go on my Facebook, page or whatever, and you just read the comments, and not just me, but anybody who's got an avenue for fans to sound off. You guys know message boards, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Callers. I'm sure the callers, there is absolutely a split among the fan base. Some of them are saying, hey, just give it time. We got the right guy. Some of them are saying, give it time. We need to get the right guy. And some of them, this is a disaster. We're never going to win a conference championship again. That's just, that's the nature of fans.
Yeah. Because, man, can you imagine, they had that stretch with Snellenberger and Blake that was a disaster before Stoops came in and turned that around pretty quickly. But, yeah, man, they love being that you could write in 9 or 10. And, you could do that with Nebraska. That hasn't been the case in over a decade. In Oklahoma, if they're not careful, they'll slip into the oblivion, even with all the resources and I just can't imagine that. But we discussed this the other day. Everybody in college football at some point, maybe Ohio State, and what was that right after John Cooper? During John Cooper? Even Ohio State, but they're the ones that have had the smallest blip. Others have had that they just fade in and have a funk, and Oklahoma's got to be careful to go back into what they had in the mid to late 90s.
That's exactly right. At SEC Media Days last year in Dallas, I was talking with Andy Staples, and I can't remember if I interviewed him or he interviewed me. We probably both shared the content. But that was something that we both were talking about, and he actually reminded me. He said, "We talked about this like 3 years ago." I was like, "We did? I don't remember." Typically, it was, the most Teflon college football program, in his opinion, and I would agree, is Ohio State at 1. Oklahoma has, in the last 25 years, been 1A. He said all of a sudden Oklahoma loses 2 out of 3, or losing season 2. Now they're in the SEC. They got to play catch up. You look at their recruiting classes over the next couple of years. All of a sudden, that 1A might be slipping to 2 or 3 or 5 or 7.
Yep.
They're down there where it's like, oh boy, how close are they to becoming the next Nebraska? And here's the deal: Nebraska never really had easy access to the Texas kids, like you guys know. Bob Stoops was on talking about Colin Cowherd saying, "Here comes Nebraska 2.0, the Oklahoma Sooners." Blah blah blah. He hates OU because of Lincoln Riley and USC. But Bob Stoops was going on the radio saying, we're right across the Red River from an endless supply of recruits.
Yep.
North Texas and Dallas, so we don't have anything to worry about. But boy, I just looked at it yesterday. 24/7's got this recruiting class, 26 recruiting class, ranked 34th in the country.
Yeah, they'll close with a little bit of a flurry, but no, they're not. You can't make up that much ground in the last 2-3 months before they sign in December.
Texas was at the microphone yesterday in Atlanta. They just got 2 5-stars.
I know.
They now have 5 kids on their 26 roster that are 5, and Oklahoma has how many 5-stars? 0.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's definitely a danger there, I think, Smokey.
And I was going to add to this as well about with them slipping, or at least if they're not careful, if it continues. And right now, the one team that is their biggest rival is on their way up like a damn Elon Musk rocket. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's right. That's 100% right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're having to fight not only their own demons, with navigating the new conference and catching up in recruiting, and now they got to find an athletic director and build out their program. Yeah, the number one rival is on a speed ship. Absolutely right.
They are.
Well, they better hope it's an Elon Musk rocket. It's 50-50 is going to blow up.
Oh, Paul.
True. I mean, look, I watch the news. Some of them go, some of them don't.
Just like before the Apollos.
It's funny.
Oh, my God. Could not resist.
I could swear Elon had his hand on the pen and was hovering to sign that deal to put that thing in Central Texas, Paul, and he just put his pen down. I just heard him put his pen down.
It's already here. We've got SpaceX in McGregor.
We hear it. We rumble.
I'm a little behind. I apologize.